This video is going to be walking through problem number 12 from Invitational A 2019 called Vlad. In this particular problem, we're going to be given some information about some students. We basically are just reformatting that information to a different way. So we're given student ID, last name, comma, first name, and then middle initial if there is one, and then we're outputting first name, middle initial, last name in alphabetical order. So we're going to be doing some string manipulation here, basically. So yeah, well, let's go ahead and jump in and see what we can figure out. So we've got our classes here. Now we don't know how many things we're going to be reading in, so I'm just going to say while in dot has next. I'm going to be reading in a string, so I'm going to say string line equals in dot next. I'm going to go ahead and read on the whole line at once. Now the reason I'm thinking that way is because in all the examples there's a middle initial, but it says they don't have to have one, which means I can't know for certain if I'm going to be reading in 1, 2, 3, 4 things or just 1, 2, 3. And I'm not clever enough to figure out how to read in 3 and then check the next thing to see if it's so I'm just going to read in the whole line, and I'm going to check if there's a period at the end. If there's a period at the end, then I have a middle initial. Otherwise I don't. So that's where I'm starting. So my first case is something like if line dot char at line dot length minus 1, so the thing at the very end is equal to a period. All right, so note on it here. There is a middle initial. Okay, so if there's a middle initial, then I want to get, now the way this is broken up, there's a space, then there's another space, so I want to get the thing after the second space to the third space. So I need to figure out if there's middle initial, there's going to be 1, so there's going to be 3 spaces, and that's going to kind of separate stuff. So I say int last index equals, so in other words, the index of their last name is going to be the index after the first space. So it's going to be something like line dot index of space plus 1. Now index of finds the very first one. Okay. Int first index. Right. So first index, that's going to be with the next space after last. Okay, so I'm going to say line dot index of space. Actually, let me look at that again. Index of, okay. So see, we can say string and then from index. So we're going to say starting there. I'm sorry, find that starting at the last index. Okay. And then mid index, same idea, equals line dot index of, find a space, starting from first index. I messed up though, this needs to be plus 1 because space is right there. I want to go to the next thing. Space is right there. I want to go to the next thing. So plus 1. Okay. And then, all right. So then I want to put I want to put all these into one thing so that I can sort them. Okay. So for that, I think I'm gonna use, I don't know how many there's gonna be, so I'm gonna use an array list, I think. I'm going to say array list of strings. These are the names equals new array list string. Notice this is before my while loop because, oh, no, I want this inside my while loop because I want to reset it for each. No. It's one problem. So I want it outside my while loop because I'm reading all these names. They're all going to go into this thing right there. Okay, so then I want to say names.append, names.add, sorry. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make my string last first. So string last equals line.substring last index up to first index. So first index is right here, 1, 2. So I want to stop before that comma. So I'm going to say -2. Okay, string first equals line.substring starting from first index. And I just see if that still works. So yeah, so here's middle. There's no comma, so it's just going to be -1. Mid index -1. And then mid line.substring mid index. And it's middle initial, so it's just going to be that +1. So then I'm going to say names.add first plus mid plus last. So that's going to concatenate. Oh, and I want spaces in between. I want spaces. So I'm going to say first plus a space plus mid plus a space plus last. All right. Else, right? So in other words, if there is no middle, then really this doesn't change a whole lot. I'm going to use this exact same thing right here. All right, get first index, get last index, and then get first and last, and then go ahead and grab this, and we don't need a mid in there. Okay. So now, after we've read in all the names, we want to sort the array list. We want to sort the array list. Okay. Let's check something here. We want to sort the array list. Yeah, so collections.sort is our tool here. It will sort the array list for us. Notice here it says a list T. This is any type of list, could be an array list or a linked list. So we're going to sort names. And I think we want them in alphabetical order by, well, we want it by last name. We want it by last name, so that's not quite going to work. I want it by last name. Right now it's going to sort just as if it's one big long string, so that's not quite what I want. What if what if we store our names with last first? All right, so I'm going to say grab last, put it, so it'll be last, then a space, then first, then a space, then mid. All right. And then likewise here, I'm going to go ahead and just do last plus first. So last plus a space plus first. Don't make the space at the end. Okay, so now when we sort, names should be in the right order. So now I've got to figure out how to get it to print out in the order we want. What's wrong here? Cannot be resolved. Oh yeah. This there is no middle index, right? So it's going to go to the line dot length -1, going all the way to the end. There we go. Okay, so let's see. We're sorting. Now we want to pull out we have last, first, mid. So it's basically the exact same thing as this without the comma or the period. So now we want to get first, then middle, then last. I'm looking at the sorting here one more time here. Last name, then first name. Okay, so yeah, so this order right here needs to be last, first, mid for the sorting part. Once it's sorted, then we want we kind of want to do something like this now, don't we? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say for string name in names. I'm going to kind of just pull this back down. It's not the most efficient way of doing it. Not a big fan of this because, well, I mean, how do I know now if it has a middle initial or not, for one? Right? I need to keep track of that part. But really, all I want is, okay, let's think about this. Right now I've got Perez, Ava, P. Ava P is okay. I want Perez at the end of that. So I just need to find the first space, grab that, and put it at the end. Okay. Okay, so we'll find the first space. So I'm going to say int space index equals name dot index of a space. So that's going to find the first space. So then we'll say got it. So then we'll go, okay, so now I'm just going to make a string. This is going to be a temporary string, but I'm just going to call it temp equals name dot substring. It's going to start at the space index +1 and go to the end plus, so that's going to be first name and middle initial if there is one. Then we want a space, and then we're going to do, okay, then we say name dot substring starting from the beginning and going to space index. Out dot println temp. Let's find out. Probably a typo someplace, but oh, check it out. Zoe H. Allen. Okay, let's check our output here. That's our input. That's not helpful. Vlad.out. Zoe H. Allen, Jaden Anderson, Jaden F. Anderson. Whoa. I lost the N. And Jaden. Why did I lose the N? Why that one name? John and Garcia, Emma Garza, Charlotte, Gomez, Sophia. Okay, I lost a W. Cutting off letters apparently for some reason. Now this Jaden Anderson, that would be early enough where I could have caught that off of the contest data. So let's see what's different about Jaden. Oh, maybe it's not actually. Jaden Anderson. Where is Jaden Anderson? Oh, you know what? It's the ones that don't have a middle initial. See, so that means this would have been a hard bug to catch. With the given data, I would have to have modified the given data. So I think someplace here I must be losing where am I losing that letter? I'm either losing it here or I'm losing it here. So let's see if we can figure that out. Find the index of the space, go to 1, or increase it by 1. That's your last. That's where last name starts. First index. Oh, I know why. If there's no middle initial, then the last name. You know why? I'm cutting off a letter right here. We don't need to. We're going all the way to the end. We don't want to say length minus 1. We want to go all the way to the end. That's my problem. That was my fault. So I'm gonna undo that really quick just so I can explain. So by saying start at first index and stop at line.length minus 1, this is actually cutting off the last letter of line, which when we had a middle initial, that last letter was a period, we wanted that. But now there's nothing at the end, so I actually just want to start at first index and go to the end. So let's check this now. That should fix that problem. So now we have Jaden Anderson, Jaden, Matthew, Charles. Yeah, so I'm not cutting that off. That would have been a hard bug to find without the judge's data. So that's where sometimes if there's a particular case that's not in the data, right? So like you have this in your DAT file. That's one of the reasons I really like Code Studio is, I say, oh, well, okay, you know what? This is, here, let's say this is the last line of the student DAT, right? Then I can add in my own and just say, okay, 1111, Smith, Bob, right? And then I can test, go ahead and delete all this really quick. All right, so here's my test data. So now I can just come over here and run it, and I can see, does my code work for that case which wasn't included? And I can see, yes, it does, right? So that's one of the nice things about Code Studio is I can just access the DAT files immediately without too much effort and change them to test cases that maybe I have thought of but aren't included in the DAT file, which happens quite a bit. So, all right, so there we go. I'll tell you, lots of duplicate code here. If this weren't like a time contest, I would probably spend some time trying to figure out how to make this a little bit more efficient. There's probably something in here where I could make this a little bit more efficient, but I think for our purposes right now, this will work. So hopefully you found that informative. Comment with questions if you have them. Thank you.